هاي دكتور، ايه الأخبار؟
Hi doctor, how are you?
الحمد لله الحمد لله، ايه اخباركم؟
الحمد لله. احنا النهاردة هنبتدي في حاجات الجديدة بقى.
relatively يعني حاجات جديدة. خلاص كفاية بقى.
أنا أصلا بكره البوينترز وكده
والله لا، مضطرين نصالحكم على بعض السمستر ده يعني. وإلا وإلا الكورس مش هيتصالح معاكي يعني. you have to يعني.
هي البوينترز جزء كبير من 110.
الحقيقة especially في بعد الشهر ونص الأولانيين أو بعد شهر. مش جزء بمعنى جزء يعني، بس يعني أغلب الحاجات يعني الداتا ستراكشرز اللي هناخدها coming يعني كلها pointers يعني فلازم يعني.
تمام
فمضطرة تحبيها
إن شاء الله.
عشان كده أنا اديتكوا assignment عليها يعني، ده السبب يعني.
Doctor, are you going to postpone an assignment?
Yes, I'm going to postpone it.
Till when?
Thank you.
يعني مش متأكد لغاية إمتى، بس I'm going to postpone it يعني.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, doctor.
Hi.
Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. 2 more minutes and I will start. Till then, if anyone has a question, just let me know. So please ask whatever question that you want to ask. Any questions before I start?
Oh, you said you might postpone the assignment?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I will tell you tomorrow, inshallah.
Well, also, you said for the bonuses, you were going to make a spreadsheet.
Yes, I didn't do this actually. However, I will send you this tomorrow, inshallah, and then you can add whatever old or new bonuses that you
Okay, thank you.
have. Welcome.
المخترقين.
So I guess I have sent you a message. So we're going to have our first midterm. We're going to have it, inshallah, at 13th of March. So I have confirmed this to the department today. It's going to be a face-to-face thing. And the second midterm is towards 10th of April. It's also Saturday, and I might do a makeup, depends on the results of the first midterm. So that's all from my side. I will postpone the assignment. I will send you the date tomorrow. Yesterday I made more examples about classes and pointers, and I have sent you already the code for, oops. And I have sent you already the code for this. I think I sent the code for this, and they are relevant examples to the assignment. So a real piece of advice is please do solve the assignment. You have to anyways, but also have a look at the examples I sent. The examples are available also on Blackboard, on Dropbox, and they will be available on Blackboard so soon. You will find a folder here that is called helping code, and then you will find 106 review code, and then you will find all the code that we discussed yesterday. Of course, I do understand that it's a weekend and it was so optional to attend. Yet please listen. If you have problems with 106 material, especially classes and pointer, please have a look at this code and have a look at the lecture recorded. I already sent you the recording. So that's it from my side. Do you have any questions before I start? Any further questions? Okay. So thank you very much for joining. Today, inshallah, we'll begin our syllabus for our content and our syllabus for 110. Basically, this is the start of a category of lectures for OOD and OOP. For whoever don't remember, OOD is object-oriented design, while OOP is object-oriented programming. We'll cover them. As definitions later on in this lecture. So this lecture is based on Savage book, chapter 10 and 11, and it's also based on Halim. Those are two PDFs that you will find also in Dropbox for 2 books. And definitely I use also some online resources as well. So let's start. So it's a little bit of a review again and again. Why I'm repeating myself so much. This is basically a golden opportunity for you to hear classes again and again and again. And later I will not have the luxury to do so. So I am stating on main concepts that they are so foundational and so basic for 110. So basically I need some people to help me. So they will act as if they are me. So please send your names on the chat. So I will pick some of you as much as I can. Okay, thank you. So we'll have some new faces today, and I decided to start a little bit randomly. So I'll have Maram.
Yes.
Yes, Maram. So we stated the difference between the class and the object. So basically, what's a class and what's an object from based on your understanding, not necessarily what you memorize. Yeah.
A class is a data type.
Yes.
And an object is like an instance of a class.
So what does it mean, an instance of the class?
Any part of it. Like for example, if we take the example here of cars, or the car is a class, and like the types of the class are the objects. For example, I don't know, BMW or.
Yes, yes. So thank you, Maram, for this. So a class is a data type, and this data type is having 2 things. First, some data members, and first, some methods. So this is the first definition. The second definition is that the class is a template. It's a blueprint. It's like Maram was saying, you're creating an instance. And what does it mean, an instance? It means that this object is representing specific values for the data members, and it can use the class methods. I'll give you an example. If we have a class, that is called a person, and today will be full of hearts because of the Valentine. So anyways, so the class name is a person. The data members is definitely the name, the age, the city, the gender, whatsoever. And then the methods, what can the person do? He or she can eat, study, sleep, lots of sleeping, especially when you are at home, and then playing. Okay, so this is basically a class. It talks about a person. Did we specify any person? No, we didn't specify any person. When we specify, when we define an instance, when we describe the behavior, and this is a new word, the behavior, when we describe the differentiator of certain person, so it's become an object. It's become an object. So do we know what is the name of the person? We don't know. That's why it's class. So it just describes the data methods, and it describes what any person can do. However, John is a person. John is a person. So he is an instance of this class that is named person. His age is 35. He lives in Delhi, and his gender is email. So this is one object. The other object is named Daisy. Uh, of course, he can eat, study, sleep, and play, or any one of them, or a combination of them. The other object is Daisy. Her age is 20, and her city is Pune or Pune. I don't know. I never have heard of this city. And the gender is a female. So this is another object. We can create a third object like Maram. Her age is, let's say, 19 or 18, whatever. And her city is Cairo, and the gender is a female. So each instance, each creation of this class is an object. So this is basically the difference between the class and the object. So let's go into OOD and OOP. So I'll pick Ala. So Ala,
Yes, doctor.
what's OOD and what's OOP?
OOD is the object-oriented
What?
design.
Okay, that's fine. And what's basically object-oriented design?
I can read it. I'm not really sure.
Yes. You wasn't with me, but you didn't study.
لا, I didn't honestly.
طيب, okay. So Ali Hussein, Ali Yassin is raising his hand here. He was with me since the beginning, my Lebanese friend too. So can you define OOD and OOP, Ali?
Object-oriented design, it's the design of the program, how it's going to function. For example,
Yes.
what kind of functions or classes we're going to use. And the object-oriented programming is the code itself.
Is the code itself. That's fine. So OOD, you said something a little bit that I will omit it, but anyways, OOD is basically object-oriented design. And again, I recall my example I told you. When an architect wants to build a house, so does he or she go and then just start building a house? No. He or she starts by meeting the owners of this house. How many rooms do you want? What are the facilities that you want in the house? Do you want how many bedrooms? So this architect is getting what the customer wants. So those are the business requirements. Those are what the customer dreams of. And then he start to design. So he puts into all the requirements into a design. And you know that sheet, and you have this bedroom. Its size will be so and so. There will be a bathroom inside the master bedroom, and its size will be blah blah blah, and there will be an AC here, there will be a TV here. So this is the process of design. Starts with high level designs and then low level design into the details. So it starts by knowing the class names and then digging deeper, knowing the functions and knowing the attributes. And then very important thing in OOD, how those classes are going to talk to each other, how they are going to communicate. If you recall, when I told you uh, the most efficient applications, the well-designed applications, they are the one with one or two lines in the main, one or two lines, and everything in classes, and everything in classes. This is OOD, this is OOD. So, and for OOD in this course, you're going to use a design tool, and it's free tool, and it's even available online on the internet. So you don't have to download anything. And I will send you this on the WhatsApp and as email, whatever. I will. So its name is Gen My Model. So you're going to create an account, and then it's your AUC account, and then you will start designing your classes. This is OOD. You will start design your classes. You will start build the building. So what happened? What's design? Design basically, you name your classes. So this is the class of person, and then step by step, you're going to name your attributes. So this is an attribute, this is an integer, and you start to name the attribute. So it's this is the age, and then this is a name, and then uh, whatsoever, this is a string, etc. And then you start to define the operations that you're going to have. So please take a look at this tool, because we're going to use it. We're going to use it extensively in the project. We're going to use it in in one of the assignments. We're going to use it a lot. So basically, you define the classes. And then, as I told you, OOD is about defining how classes are interconnected with each other. So you basically get another class in the picture, and you basically start to have a relationship between those two classes. So this other class might be anything. It might be a course, and this class will be having a relationship with that class. The relationship between classes and each other, this will be a separate lecture that is coming soon. So Yahya, you're having a question?
Yes, doctor. What if I want more than two attributes in the class?
Yeah, you can add whatever, my friend. So you can add whatever attributes that you want. So so this tool is very powerful, very flexible, and we will give you an orientation about it very soon as well, how to use it. But the main purpose here is to tell you that using a tool, you can design your classes, how they are interconnected with each other, how they are connected with each other, and basically this is called OOD. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Doctor.
And just for you, so basically you can do whatever thing for adding attributes and adding function and start like this. So once again, the tool name is Gen My Model. I am going to write you this in the chat now, and I am going to send you this. OOB is what? OOB is simply taking this class and transfer it to C++ code. So you define the class, and then you start building the functions that exist in this class as C++ code. So you take this class, you take that class, you take the other class, and you start building them. So this is called OOP, Object-Oriented Programming, in which you transfer the design that you did inside this tool into a code. Okay. So OOD has certain features. So the classes and objects are features of OOD. So now, from now on, don't talk to me about functions. Talk to me about classes and about methods belonging to those functions. Talk to me about objects. Don't talk to me about functions. Talk to me about classes and about objects. Then we will have several concepts that exist in OOD. One of them is encapsulation, the other is inheritance, the third is abstraction, and the fourth is polymorphism. We will take each one of them, we will take each one of them and study it in some details. So we'll have encapsulation today. Later on, we'll have a big chapter about inheritance. We will have a chapter about abstraction. We will have part of that chapter inside inheritance about polymorphism. I'm not going to explain now except encapsulation. And later on, you will know all those features. So now you know classes, objects, and encapsulation is to come. Encapsulation is to come. Okay. So encapsulation, what does it mean? It means that I am encapsulating, encapsulation coming from capsule, and actually encapsulating means that you're putting inside the class the necessary attributes and the necessary methods. You're going inside, you're putting inside the class the necessary attributes and the necessary methods that this class should contain. So encapsulation in Arabic means تحط كل الاتريبيوتس والميثودز اللي الكلاس محتاجها تحطها جوه الكلاس، سواء انت هتستعملها او حد غيرك هيستعملها. خلاص؟ Whether you're going to use it or someone else that will use it. Okay, so when you build classes, you have to build classes with a concept that nobody from your colleagues or from wherever should come to you and tell you, oh Yahya, you forgot this basic function in class. So if you if someone tells you so your classes is not so well designed. It's also similar to this building story. What if the architect design a bathroom without a shower, for example? So it will be incomplete design. What if the architect designed a home, designed a room without internet connectivity? This is not a good design. This is not a good design. So encapsulation means that you are wrapping the attributes. Wrapping. You know the sandwich wrap? It's the same thing. It's wrapping. It's wrapping. It's wrapping. Wrapping the data and the function inside one class. So what are the advantage of encapsulation? And then we'll have an example for this. You're making something from data hiding. Yeah. So encapsulation is making data hiding. So you're making the attributes private to the class. You make whatever you want others to access, you will let them access. So this is called data hiding. What you expose to the external world, you are exposing the public function. So this is data hiding and information hiding. What does this mean? This means that in order to use the class, you have to use function eat, play, listen, whatever that we have explained before in this example. To use them, you don't care how they were implemented. You just use them. And when you use them, you don't care about how Yahya have implemented it. So Yahya might change this implementation, and this is so transparent from you, and this is so transparent from you. So once again, encapsulation, this is the most important aspect here, is putting the necessary data and the necessary functions inside a given class. Let's take a good example, and then we will advance. Okay, so let's have another friend with me. So Maya.
Yes.
So today is the day for ladies because of the Valentine. So mostly only ladies will contribute to So Maya, let's come back to Inca without seeing this. Without seeing this this slide, I turned to my original slide. So Maya, if we have a clock as a class, so let's think together what can be the attributes and what can be the functions of the clock.
Okay, to tell the time.
Yeah. So
Set
this
an
could
alarm. Functions. It's functions.
function. Yeah. So let's start step by step. Let's start by the attributes. What could be the attributes of the clock, yeah, Maya?
The minutes, the
The minutes.
seconds, hours.
Relax. Minutes, hours. Yes. What else?
Seconds.
Seconds. What else?
The مش عارفة بقى the shape
No.
Clock.
Shape. What do you mean by shape?
of the clock. If
Yeah,
we're
so-
talking about the external features of the clock,
Yeah,
not
So you're talking about the shape is circular or the shape is rectangle? This is what you
yeah,
mean?
maybe the design يعني.
Maybe the design. Okay. What else?
That-
Doctor, maybe an internal clock inside, so that it knows to move the arrow.
No. I'm talking about the attributes.
The hands of the clock.
No, does it really necessary? You're describing a clock.
The motor, power.
No, not necessarily.
Milliseconds.
Once again, you're describing a clock.
Doctor, maybe the
Color.
space between the letters. I mean the numbers.
You mean what?
The space between the numbers.
Who cares?
Color.
Color, maybe. What else?
Size of the arms.
No, not necessarily. It's not that important. Who else want to say something?
Kind of clock, for example, a wristwatch or a one.
Yeah. This is important.
Type arrow or digital.
Yes, this is very important. What else?
12-hour or 24-hour.
Maybe. Not this is in the hours and minutes. It doesn't matter. Who else want to say any attributes of the clock? Okay, type. That's not important. That's not an exam in clocks. But coming back to my friend Maya, and all others, but we'll give Maya space to speak. So Maya, what could be the methods that exist in the clock? What could be the functions that exist in the clock?
To tell the time, firstly.
Yeah. So
To
time. So tell the time. So
tell time.
time. And definitely set time.
Mhm.
What else could be in the clock?
If we're gonna use the attributes that we have مثلا ممكن نقول
Display time.
Display time. This is yeah, we can, Yasin, we can say display time.
Alarm.
Excuse me?
Alarm, we can make a function.
Alarm. So reminder, time. What else?
Maybe a stopwatch.
Yes, Ala, stopwatch. What else?
Some watches have dates.
Have
dates, like the
Dates?
day. Yes.
Yeah, this could be an attribute.
Maybe
And
maybe
then
Timer?
a timer could be the stopwatch is the same as a timer.
maybe command to tell the of different countries, to tell the time of different countries.
Sorry, I lost all the clock. No, I didn't lose it, alhamdulillah. Okay, so time zone, so set time zone. Okay, that's enough, that's enough. Okay, type. Look at this example. Look at this example. And look at this example. So can you, thank you, Maya, first, but this is a question for everyone. Can you get, first, do you believe that if we all believe that those are the necessary attributes and the necessary methods for the function after some good thinking together, so خلاص, this means that encapsulation means that you thought carefully and you get the data and the methods necessary to describe a clock. يعني sorry to explain it in a naive way، يعني ما ينفعش حد يطلع لك يقول لك بص انت ناسي فانكشن مهمه زي الالارم جوه الكلاس اللي اسمه clock. Then your design is better than others' design when it has good encapsulation, when it contains the necessary attributes and the necessary function. طيب, I will tell you, I will ask all of you a question, and then you need to think and answer me. Do you think that I can remove some attributes and some methods and make them into a different class?
No.
No, that's Ala. Who thinks I should have some attributes and functions outside the class that is named clock?
I think it has to do with the design يعني.
It has to do with the, definitely.
يعني لو حد عايز يبقى كله في بعضه.
Elaborating in the design يا عبد الرحمن يعني.
We could have
لو حد عايز
subclasses.
يعمل كله في بعضه يبقى ده الانكابسوليشن، اكيد الحاجات التانية هتبقى زي ما هي.
صح، بس the encapsulation also means that you don't put other classes, functions, and methods within the set. Don't overload the class with something that others can do, other classes can do. So just look if you can separate one class or more than
We could have subclasses type.
Ignore technicality, whoever was speaking. Just tell me, take this out into another class.
انا ممكن اخد الالارم والستوب ووتش والحاجات دي اعملها زي فيتشرز مش هي الاساسيه يعني، ويبقى عندي المينيتس والاورز والسكندز هم الاساس.
ممكن. That's fine. So what you're saying that the timer could be regardless of the relationship between the timer and the clock. So I will have another class called timer. Okay. What other class can be got out?
Maybe we can make the design in another class, like the color and the type.
That's great. That's great. So the shape is another class. That's perfect. What else?
The color is another class.
It's a shape. It's inside the shape. So instead of the shape, let's call it features.
So
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't it better to have everything related to clock inside, like in one place,
Yes, unless you are overloading the class. So any application can be in one class and can be in 10 classes. So the timer is a clock at the end of the day. And later on, we will say we will have a relationship between the timer and the clock, but they will have certain relationship between each other. The features. Why should I put the features of the clock inside the clock? Think. The clock is nothing but an hour, minutes, and the second. The shape is out in different class. The color is part of the shape. The type of the part of the features. The alarm is definitely could be in another class. So Nadia, you were trying to say something.
Sorry, I tried to say that we can make a date out. This is a independent class.
Yeah, yes. We can make data out. That's perfect. I myself didn't think of that. So thank you, Nadia. So what did I do? So basically, I designed the class called clock, and then I decided to make other classes. And later on, you will discover that we will have a relationship between those classes together inside what's called a class diagram. So encapsulation means that you put the necessary attributes and function inside that class. And it doesn't mean that you make the class so fat so that your application is one or two classes. Make the class as fit as possible. Don't make it slim fit or don't make it regular. Just make it regular fit. Don't make it slim fit. Just make it as perfect as you can. So this is basically what is thought about the clock. It's set time, get time, increment second, increment minutes, increment hours. And then this function is not so important, which is equal time. So someone will remind me what's private and what's function. So I'll pick a friend. So Hannah.
Yes, doctor.
So Hannah, we spoke about public and private before, yes?
Yes.
So what's public, what's private?
Private variables or attributes, they're in the class and the user cannot change them. Except when I put like a setter function to each one.
A setter and getter, definitely. To change them, a setter. Or to know what the value is. So that's the getter function. Okay, continue, Hannah.
And the public members, like the user can input to them or change to them. They're available to the user.
They're available to the user, but public, mostly they are functions or attributes?
Functions.
Okay, and private, they are mostly functions or attributes?
Attributes.
Great. So public means that the functions can used from other functions or other methods within the same class, or they can use from other functions within the class, or they can used by objects related to the class. Private means they are private. I cannot access those attributes or the functions that exist in the private except through the getter and the setter, and later on we will learn the constructor for the class. So So this means that if this is my main, if I come up with and saying I have clock type, and we can have an object called Hana clock, and then I cannot say Hana clock dot hour is equal to 5. I cannot say so because this is a private attribute. So, but I can definitely say Hana clock dot set time. For the hours, it's 30. Sorry, for the hours 12, for example, minutes 30 and second 30. So I can do this.
دكتور I have a question.
Yes, عبد الرحمن.
هو في البابليك في حاجة مكتوبة const كده لوحدها دي.
This one?
لا third line أو
لا don't worry about it for now. Don't worry about it for now.
Okay.
Okay.
دكتور
Yes.
معلش عندي سؤال، هو كده الأفضل إن إحنا نحط كله في كلاس واحد ولا نفرقهم في سب كلاسز؟
لا، تفرقهم في سب كلاسز حينما تستدعي الضرورة يا فادي.
اوكي تمام.
يعني تحط الكلاس كده بالبلدي على الحاجات اللي محتاجة تبقى جواه.
تمام.
اللي محتاجة تبقى جواه. ما تحطش لا زيادة ولا تحط أقل. لما تكتشف إنه في حاجة زيادة ينفع تتفصل لوحدها في كلاس لوحدها، حطها في كلاس لوحدها. اوكي؟
تمام يا دكتور، شكرا.
ودي يا جماعة دي ارت يعني مش ساينس يعني ده الديزاين ده كأنك يعني بترسم لوحة يعني. اوكي؟ Later on you will discover that the design is the most important, the most difficult part, and the implementation is very easy. Once you learn the language, the implementation is easy, but the design is difficult. You will discover this in the project anyways. But maybe 110 you will discover that the problem is in the design and the other problem in the implementation, because you still don't know C++ so perfect. Okay, let's go into an explanation. So as we said, public means accessible to the outside world, which is the main or the other function in the class. Protected, we will take it with inheritance. You don't worry about it. Private data, it means that it is not accessible from outside the class, i.e. from the main. In order to access private data, you have to make it through the getter and the setter. That you do this inside the main of the application or the program. Okay, we have spoke about this, and we have spoke about the setters and getters before, and this is basically, I just want to stop at one just review with you one basic concept that I explained before, but I want to review this with you again. Look at this function. Look at this function. So I'll pick one good friend with me. So I'll pick my Lebanese friend one, which is Zaif.
Yes, doctor.
So we have two Lebanese friends. So you become the first one, Zaif. بالأقدمية شوية. Okay, so let's please look at this function and tell me this is called by reference or called by value.
This is called by reference.
It's called by reference because we have this small.
The and symbol.
Excuse me?
The and symbol.
We have this and symbol. And what does call by reference means?
Basically, call by reference is if you give it a value, it will change the value inside the main. You can give it, yeah.
Yeah, explain.
You can like give an integer inside the main and call it by reference, and it will change in the main.
And it will change in the main. So this was just a reminder for you. One other reminder, thank you, Zarif. One other reminder, two other reminders for you. The first one is those two columns. What does they mean? They mean simply that this function called setTime is part of the class, belongs to the class that is called clockTime. Okay? This is another thing to remember. There's a third thing to remember is that when you create an object, and when you have its attributes set, what will the compiler do? The compiler will create a piece of memory for this object and put the values for the attributes inside this piece of memory. So it will create hour and put the value of the hour, 3:48, and the second 52. We have taken this previously, so I am not bringing anything new. Okay, so we're having what's so called an assignment operator. And what is this assignment operator? So I'll have also one good friend with me, so I'll have Yusuf Omar. Yusuf, you're still there or you're disconnected?
No, I'm here.
Okay, so basically in this code, I am creating how many objects? Two. What are the name of two objects that belong to the class? What's the class name and what are the two objects?
The two objects are my clock and your clock.
Yes.
Class name is clockType.
And class name is clockType. Great. Then my clock.setTime, 3, 4, and 20. Let's go back and see what this function is doing. So set clock, this is set time, I'm sorry. So what does set time means?
Okay, it takes from the user the hours with the minutes and the seconds. And then first of all, it checks if they are within region. So hours cannot be more than 24, minutes can't be more than 60, and seconds can't be more than 60.
Yes, so
and then it just puts them inside.
Applies some checks. Yeah. Okay. And what does it do primarily?
It just puts the number of hours into hours, just setter basically.
And what's HR and what's min and what's sec?
Hours, minutes, and seconds.
Yeah, I know the English. I mean, what are they? They are what to the class? So basically, if you look at the class, the HR, minutes, and seconds, those are, what are those things here, Yusuf?
In the class, they are object. integers, attributes.
No. What are the attributes? So those basically the attributes or the member variables of the class. So returning back to this function. So basically, what does it do?
Okay, so it just puts, it's a setter, so it takes it from the user and puts it in the private attributes of the class.
Okay, so basically, it takes this function, ignore the part that it takes something from the user. This function, it has an input hours, minutes, and seconds. And basically, what does it do actually? It basically check whether the hours between 0 and 24, and then HR, this is a private attribute in the class. So it basically equates the HR to the hours, the MN to the minutes, and the SEC to the seconds. So this object, which is called Yusuf, this object, which is called my clock, what will be the HR, min, and seconds?
3, 4, and 20.
Mumtaz. So this object is named my clock, and the hours will be equal to 3, the minutes will be equal to 4, and the second will be equal to 20. So thank you, Yusuf. So
thank you, Doctor.
Later on, and then this equation. So this means your clock, this is another object, and my clock, your clock is equal to my clock, and there's an equal here. There's an equal here. So this is called an assignment operator. This is called an assignment operator. And this basically makes the two objects equal to each other. What does this mean? This means that if my clock hours is 3, my clock minutes is equal to 4, my clock second is equal to 20, then that's right. Then your clock hours is equal to 3, your clock minutes is equal to 4, your clock seconds will be equal to 20. So it just equates two objects together. It just equates two objects together. It just equates two objects together. Okay? And we will study this also in greater details. So let's have a look at UML. UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. Why it's named unified? Because it's a universal language. Everyone who wants to design in object-oriented will use UML. And UML in Cairo is not so different that compared to UML in the United States is not so different. So it's a standard language. And it is really independent. It is really independent of the implementation language. So you can use UML and code in C++. You can use UML and code in Java. You can use UML and implement in C#. This is another language. So as far as the language is object-oriented, so you can use UML for object-oriented design. So in UML, you will have this box, and it really indicates that you have a class. So generally, you put the class name here. You put the attributes here. You put the methods here. And don't worry about the responsibilities out there. Once again, if you have a class that is named student, so you put student in, sorry, so you put the student in the class name, and then you put the attributes in the way that I will describe, and that's it for this course, and that's it for this course. Coming back, there is plus, minus, and this hash. Forget about this hash for the time being, and this is the plus and the minus. This is called visibility. This is called visibility. This is called visibility. And this is basically the public and the private. So plus means public, minus means private. Plus means public, minus means private. So this attribute is public, this attribute is private. Those two classes are public. Let's take a look how it's written. This is the student, name is public, registered in. This is public as well, register. This is a function that takes an input, which is that takes a parameter, which is C, and C, its data type is another class that is called course. This function is called isRegistered, and it takes a parameter as C, and it takes an object which is course, and it returns a Boolean, and it returns a Boolean, and it returns a Boolean, and it returns a Boolean. So let's see how this will work for our clock example. So let me come back here. So someone will help me. I will design just to, so someone will help me. So let's me have Freddy.
Yes, sir.
Freddy, you're with me? Yes. Okay. So what was the name of the class?
Clock type.
Clock type. So let's name it clock as we have seen. So this is the name of the class. This is in the first row. Give me just two attributes. So let's go.
Hours or seconds.
Hour.
Private.
And then is it private or public?
Private.
Private. And if you can see, this is private. That's why it's minus. Then this one will make it private as well. And the name is minutes. By the way, there is one important tip, and I will repeat it. There is one important tip. The name of the class is a noun. The name of the attributes is a noun. The name of a function is a verb. So if you have the clock, So set time, get time, it's a verb. Then the attributes, hour, minute, etc., etc. So it's a name. The name of the class, it's a name, it's a noun. And don't make the class name with S. Always make clock, don't make clocks. Clocks, this means what? This means that you have an array of objects, but this is not here. This will be in the attributes. Anyways, for now, just make a clock. Minutes. What's minute? Yeah, Freddy. It's basically an integer. Yes.
Yes.
And let's have an operation. So the name of the operation was set time. Ya جماعة, for all of you, I'm just teaching you some good tips of designing. So when you have a function like set and get, it's always advisable to make S small letter and underscore. Don't make it set time لازقة في بعضها. Just make it set underscore time. And what did it take?
Hours and minutes.
Okay. Hours, and hours was integer. Yes. And what did it return?
Nothing.
Okay. So first, the first parameter is hours. By the way, I'm not teaching you this. I'm just and what does it return? It returns nothing. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume this is the class. Coming back to what we have taken here. So if you want to define an attribute, so just say minus, and then we have hour, and then column. And what was the type of hours? Integer. Integer, then minus minutes. This is again integer. Integer, you write it complete. And then what do? You will have set time, and then it will take hours, and it is basically an integer. It will take minutes, and this is basically an integer, and it will take seconds, and this is basically an integer. And then you will define other function. So UML, you don't write C++. You name the variable and then column and then the type of this variable. The variable, column, and the type of this variable. The variable, column, and the type of this variable. So this is basically what's UML. Any questions? Any questions? You understand all this minus, plus, minus private, plus public, hours, and then column, and then the data type, hours, and then column, and the data type, hours, etc. Anyone?
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes, Mohammed.
When I write these things on UML, I have also to write it on Visual Basic or only on UML and then it's designed?
No, on UML, on the tool that I was just.
So we just use UML to design this.
you use UML to design.
طب
And
انا ازاي بقى بعد ما بكتب الكود على فيجوال ستوديو بربطهم ببعض؟
well, there are some tools that takes your design and implement it, not implement it, and give you the skeleton in C++ يا محمد. تمام؟ يعني they take this class and they transfer it into C++. But of
طيب
course,
سؤال تاني
it
معلش.
will not write, just 1 second. It will
Okay.
not write the functions on your behalf. It will write you the headers of the functions.
يا وبعدها انا بقى بكتب الامبلمنتيشن بتاع الفانكشن.
بعد كده انت بتكتب الامبلمنتيشن. Yes.
طيب وانا يعني يو ام ال ده ليه ابلكيشن بعمل له انستول او كده، ولا هو اونلاين بس كده زي ما حضرتك كنت بتعمل؟
في حاجات بفلوس تقدر تشتريها من على النت، وجن ماي موديل ده ببلاش، لكن في حاجات بفلوس حتى ايفن تقدر تسبسكرايب فيها يعني.
ايوه ده دي ابلكيشنز ولا دي ابلكيشنز ولا ويب سايت اونلاين؟
في الاثنين. في حاجات ابلكيشنز زي جن اونلاين زي جن ماي موديل، وفي حاجات ديسك يعني ابلكيشن يعني ويندوز ابلكيشن.
ممكن حضرتك تبعت لنا اللينكس بتاعت الحاجات دي على جروب الواتساب؟
بس يعني بعض اغلبها بفلوس يعني. بس على فكره جن ماي موديل از اكستريملي باورفul يا محمد.
تمام.
اكستريملي واكستريملي يوزر فريندلي يعني انت مش محتاج تشتري حاجه، يعني وفر فلوسك. جن ماي موديل از فيري جود يعني.
تمام اوكي.
Okay.
تمام شكرا يا دكتور.
I will teach you Gen UML. So this is basically how the class look like. So let's come back to basics of classes. So we'll have a constructor. So I think you have taken C++. You can. You took constructors in 106. So basically, can anyone tell me what the constructor is?
It initializes the value of the objects of the function.
Okay, that's one definition. Any other suggestions? So Ali, you spoke before, so I'll have someone else other than Ali. So Maya, you spoke before, but it's nice. Yeah, you can speak again.
It gives basic values, you could say, or basic initializations to the function.
ممتاز. So can you repeat?
I said it gives basic initializations to the function.
Okay.
Or to the class.
It gives initial values to the private members of the class. I repeat, I'm sorry. It gives initial values for the private members of the class. طيب. The common question, is it the same as setters and as setters? The answer is that there are lots of similarity. However, before I go further, someone tells me an example where I need a constructor. Not Maya, of course, someone else. So I want to give initial value. Just give me an example from real life كده.
وعايز initialize السايز بتاعه فبعمل له constructor.
لا تاني.
لو هعمل array في الكلاس وعايز initialize الفاليو بتاعته ممكن initialize it by constructor.
ممتاز. This is an example. If you want to make, for example, a dynamic array, and I want to initialize the size of this dynamic array. ماشي. I need something that needs a constructor in English language, not in C++.
الكلوك اخليها 000.
ممتاز. Can you repeat عبد الرحمن؟
ماشي يا دكتور. ممكن الكلوك الاورز اخليها 0 والمينتس 0 والسكند 0.
So at some point in time, you need to give initial values to the attributes of the class. You need to give initial values to the attributes of the class. You need to give initial values to the attributes of the class. And then later on, you might change them when the user changes them. So you want to give default values. You want to give initial values. Abdurrahman, thank you for the example. Another example when where you need a constructor. Yalla, think with me.
Doctor, maybe if someone is creating a game.
Yes.
When someone's creating a game and he needs to initialize maybe the position of his players or like a time to set the time.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So if you're creating a game and you need to have some initial positions for the characters of the game, that's very fine. What else? Another example.
If we want to calculate sum of something, we set the summation first to 0.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's also another good example. Type. Anyone has a last example from people who didn't talk? Another example. I'll give you a last example that I was thinking of. When you go and open a bank account, what usually happens? What usually happens is that when you open the bank account, it opens the bank account with an initial balance. Let's say a balance of 1,000. And then later on, this is the minimum to open the balance. So if you want to initialize the bank account, create a bank account for Maram, then you have to have an initial value. So you go to the bank and deposit 1,000. Then they will open for you a saving account or a current account or whatsoever account. So this is the initial value to open the account. So you start with a balance of 0. So this is an initial value for the bank account. And later on, you deposit some money into the account. So a constructor in C++ terms, it is called when the object is created. When the object is created. What does this mean? This means that if I have clock, this is a class, and then we will have an object called Freddy clock. Then in C++, it calls a constructor. Once it has this, it calls a constructor. It calls a constructor. And this constructor will not return a value. So this is an object called Freddy clock. And then inside the clock class, I will have a constructor. And it is basically the same name of the class. So it is a function with the same name of the class. It is a function with the same name of the class. So when I create an object, that is called Freddy clock, that belongs to a class called clock, it simply calls a constructor. Type. I will repeat this next time. Don't worry about this. So what if you don't have a constructor? If you don't have a constructor, so C++ will call what's so-called a default constructor, a constructor that does nothing, a constructor that does nothing. This is called a default constructor. If you define a constructor, so C++ will call it. So I'll end this lecture by the following. The constructor purpose is to set initial values for the attributes of certain objects that belong to this class. Is it returning a value? The answer is no. When you don't provide a class in a constructor in C++, it will automatically call what's so-called a default constructor, a constructor that you don't see, that does nothing. If you provide a constructor, so it will call this constructor. The constructor, is it a private member or it's a public member? The answer is a constructor is a public member of the class. It is usually, it is known to be, it is usually, it's not a must, but it is a good practice that it is a public member of the class. Then next lecture, inshallah, we will finish our story with constructor, what are the types of constructors, and we'll go into destructor. So thank you very much for coming by. And if you have any further question or you don't understand anything in this lecture, I am here to help you. So thank you very much and have a good evening, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, Habib.
Okay, I just have a question.
Yes.
I did not get exactly what assigning the object to another object meant.
Well, it means, Ya Yasin, it means, Ya Ali, if you have certain object, okay?
Yes.
And the object is called Ali's clock. And the data members or the variables for this class is hour, and hour is equal to 3, and minute is equal to 5, and second is equal to 5 as well. Tamam?
Yes.
Tamam. Then if you're equating two objects, this means that the other object will have its hour as 3, its minutes as 3, and the same as Ali's clock. So Kamal clock variables, hour, minutes, and second will be the same as Ali clock.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, doctor, could you repeat what you just said right now?
So الاساينمنت اوبريتور ده انت عندك اوبجكت اسمه جمال كلوك. خلاص الاوبجكت ده الفاليوز بتاعت الاتريبيوتس بتاعته let's say الاور والمينت. الاور ب3 والمينت ب10. لما انت تساوي كمال كلوك اللي هو اوبجكت تاني من نفس الكلاس بجمال كلوك، يبقى الاتريبيوت اوتوماتيكلي بتاع كمال بيبقى زي الاتريبيوت بتاع الاور، الاور بتاعت كمال زي الاور بتاعت جمال، والاور والمينت هي المينت.
تمام. شكرا يا دكتور.